Hello and welcome, internet people. Today I'm starting a new series on my channel called Neon Bakes, inspired from this recipe diary. At the beginning of every month you are given a new recipe to bake or cook, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, time to start this month's recipe. To start off, I am greasing a bread loaf tin with some butter and a piece of kitchen roll. So all you need to do is just spread the butter around. Spread this bit out because you don't really want to see this bit. There you go. After it's all perfectly greased, I just added a spoonful of flour into the tin, just to give it a little extra non-stick. You got to make sure that this is done evenly, because I didn't and ended up with chunks of flour on my bread loaf. So there you go, learn from my mistakes. Now you just need to grab a big bowl and add 500 grams of strong white bread flour. I personally don't like the wholemeal. That's why I tweaked this recipe. If you do want to make the wholemeal, all you need to do is use 250 grams of the white bread flour and 250 grams of the wholemeal bread flour. Then you need to add half a teaspoon of salt. Then add 1.5 teaspoons of dried yeast. I only had individual packets of yeast, so I just used the whole pack and figured that would be enough. And then decided to just give the mixture a stir, just so that everything was distributed evenly. There we go. Now, time for the wet ingredients, which consists of 2 tablespoons of honey. I presume regular honey would do. The recipe said to use runny honey, but I just used bog standard regular honey. Now it's time to use 3 tablespoons of sunflower oil. I had sunflower oil in the cupboard anyway, but any kind of oil will do, I'm guessing. Not sure about olive oil, but trial and error. And finally, add 225 millilitres of warm water. It is important that the water is not boiling or cold, otherwise it won't activate the yeast properly when it's all combined. There we go, just give it a good old mix. I wasn't sure that the mixture was going to form into a dough, but luckily enough for me it did. Now it's time to give it a good old mix together. It is also a good idea to remove any rings that you may be wearing. Trust me when I say that they will be a nightmare to clean if you don't. Again, learn from my experiences. Anyway, when the mixture starts to resemble a dough, tip it out onto a floured surface and knead it for 10 minutes. I forgot to do this step, and I then realised that I couldn't knead it in the bowl, so yeah, it is a good idea to start with a floured surface. Like, I just used a chopping board, and it would be a good idea to get that out before you start to knead it, because I got flour all over the floor. There we go. I just used the same flour that I used in the bread, which was the strong white flour, just to flour at the surface. It doesn't really matter what flour you use, as long as the surface is coated in some flour so that it doesn't stick. I'm so sorry about this shot. I forgot my tripod, so parts of it are kind of out of the frame, so you'll have to excuse me for that. So I improvised using 2 tins of Twiglets, sellotaping them together and using blue tack to stick my camera at an angle on top of the Twiglets. You'll have to remind me next month so that I can get a better camera angle. So again, I'm so sorry about that. So again, back to the kneading. You've got to give it a good old knead for 10 minutes. And in my opinion, this is honestly a really good arm workout. I also found that it was a bit easier for me to knead when I split the dough into 3, so that it was a bit smaller to knead. And for some reason, it made it a bit easier for me. So there we go, kneading it away. There we go. Now to prop your dough in the bread tin. I made sure that the dough was distributed evenly in the tin, so that all the corners were touching the dough, so that then it wouldn't have a messed up bum. and then you've got to pop it in a warm place to prove. I left mine in the microwave. Right. You've got to preheat the oven to 220 degrees Celsius or 428 degrees Fahrenheit. Then once you have put your loaf in the oven, then immediately turn it down to 200 degrees Celsius or 392 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 30 minutes. Then voila, there is your loaf of bread. I hope you enjoyed this recipe as much as I did, and if you do this recipe, please send me pictures. I will leave the link to my Instagram and my Twitter down below. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and tune in for next month's recipe. And next month's recipe is going to be a Valentine's chocolate cake. I'll see you soon. Bye. Ooh. Shot like a rocket up into the sky. Nothing can stop me tonight. What are you trying to do?